Awesome, guys. Hey, welcome. Thank you for listening to Content Karate, a marketing show where we interview amazing people who use content and repurpose it in unique ways to drive traffic, leads, and revenue to their businesses. Today, I have the amazing Vito La Fata. He is a dad, a husband, co-creator of the Visionary Planner and Vision in the Vineyards. I got a chance to go to the Vineyard. It was amazing. Very excited to talk about that today. He coaches experts, service providers, consultants, brick and mortar, like you name it, on how to confidently and successfully transition into or launch a profitable online business in 6 to 12 months or less, which is bonkers to me. So I'm excited to chat a little bit about that also.
Yeah, do it.
So Vito, thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting about content. I'm super excited to get to chat with you about what you guys have been doing with the Visionary Planner, how you're leveraging it into your consulting business. So let's just chat about the company in general. What's your role? What do you guys do? I know that we kind of had high level, but give me some more details.
I mean, my role, first off, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on, girl.
Yeah, of course.
Always jam with you. We always have so much fun. We recognize, though, that you just simply can't compete on the cornhole board, but it's all right. It's all right.
It was pretty tragic, I will give you that.
Actually, you can hang. I'm just trying to put the dagger.
I've had better days, that's for sure. The more wine, the better. At least that's what I thought. You tried.
As night went on, I was just like, okay, I see where her skill set develops. It's as wine goes up, skills go up, and your husband's like dropping down.
Yeah, right. So it's like a good mix mash, I guess. So one's good at the beginning and one's great at the end.
That's it. But as far as what honestly, is my role is many out there, but I would partially put as the voice and crafting the message of where we're going and what we're trying to do out there. That's like my primary role, besides like the coach and the marketer and all that stuff. I'm like, it's really about who's crafting the message, who's putting the positioning out there that speaks to our methodology. That's myself and now my wife, that she's become a much more integral role in it, because people definitely just like her better.
Oh, she's awesome. I mean, you're great, but she's awesome.
They're like, I can listen to your coaching, but I can hang with her.
Mm-hmm. She's like,
great. Right, that's it. But yeah, that's the primary stuff that I'm doing for where we're at. Because, we got a team now and they handle a lot back end systems, operations, and that kind of stuff. So I got to unplug from all of that and just be voice, marketer, visionary, and coach, which is all the favorite stuff that I love doing.
Is it, like, just to segue, isn't it awesome to be able to delegate the stuff that like you don't want to spend all day doing and actually get to do the stuff that you enjoy doing?
Yeah. I mean, if you want a business that's an independent vehicle, that should be on your agenda, unless you want to own an online job out there, which was me like way back in the day. That, like, I'm not going to lie, that was me. But nowadays I'm like, no, you have to build the business. And that's the unsexiest, uncoolest stuff, because it's not like the ROI stuff that like all the marketers have out there. 10K in 3 months, do this, and Facebook ads that will recoup, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, we'll just teach you how to build an actual business that's independent of you. But I mean, we'll make you at least a known expert. We'll make you a known brand. But it's fucking hard. Oops, sorry. I know.
I don't care. We'll bleep it. It's fine. Like, okay. We're all big. We all have our big boy pants on. We're fine.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know if your thing will be like blah 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 beep blah 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 beep blah blah beep.
It'll be like some like emoji with like crosses on his eyes or something.
It's fine. And that my wife will be like, that makes sense. That was the emoji for you. But we're more about that out there in the market, because you want the lifestyle, you want the freedom, you also want the scale and the impact. And if you are just baking you into the business all the time and you're the expert and you got no systems, no opera, I'm like, you can never unplug you from the business, and it becomes the trap versus the freedom vehicle out there. So that's what, that's where we're at.
I love it. I think that so many entrepreneurs need what you offer, and I'm excited it's something that you're doing, and with great personality. And on top of it, we don't have some boring person teaching us how to make businesses function and work, like, without us in the center of it. Like,
Anna, I hope you heard that. I got a good personality.
Okay, so let's talk about processes. I mean, this is literally what processes have you guys implemented when it comes to your marketing strategy? I know you're saying that you have, a team now. So let's talk about what that looks like for you guys.
I mean, if I'll go back and I mean, like, I'm going to give plugs here to you. You guys have helped us make a lot of this stuff like a little bit more seamless, but we're very strategic about the fact that I'm like, we know our method, right? So a lot of people, when they think about content, they think about what I'm going to put out. I'm like, well, let's first back up to what do you have that is your signature system, your method? What outcome, what transformation are you delivering in the market? We should start there. What are you going to be known for? What are you going to go out and put out to the world that is sellable, that you should be paid for? I mean, like, okay, we know our method and what we're delivering. Then we reverse engineer, well, what's our positioning compared to the others out in the market that are in our space? And then we're like, what's our message that the market needs to hear now to lead them to our position that speaks to our method that generates the sales? As compared to just the tactic of like, yep, I get transcriptions and we go to Rev or we go to Otter and we turn it into posts, we turn it into all that, which is true, but what's your distinction formula in the market should be the first thing that you do, so that when you're out there thinking about what videos do I need to create, what posts do I need to do, what emails do I need to go out and craft, it's in alignment with and creating the positioning of why this, why whatever you're offering. I mean, you get the idea that I'm like, so we kind of go a little bit more top level strategy, then reverse engineer all the assets down so that we can kind of like, a lot of people forget that you have to today, with the trust at an all-time low in the market, you have to simply get the market to believe in like where they should be going, what they should be doing, how to get there, and then you're like, you got that thing to overcome to build trust, and then to hopefully have the respect that you've shown that I can do this. We have method that backs this up so that our system becomes the expert, not just like Shayna or Vito or Anna or this guy or that guy, because that goes back to why everyone's stuck in their business.
Yeah, right. And it takes a lot of content to build that trust too. Like you need to be touching consistently on platforms to get them to a place where they're even considering looking at what the system looks like.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if today with the ADD, the loud, noisy market, the attention span that is super short, and how many things you're hit at, that I'm like, if you're not consistently and repeatedly showing up with a laser focused message, you just can't crack the market today long enough for them to be like, I know what you're about, and I know what you do and who you serve and what you, if you were like, I have a product over here, I got a product over there, I got another product over there, I got another thing over there, I got another thing over there, and I do this other thing here, and I do that other thing there, and whatnot, we would never know that you're the repurpose girl. That's what you're out there doing. And you're like, I focus on that. I'd be like, before you worry about all things, I'm like, what's your effing focus? So that we can consistently get to know who you are, what you're about, what you do as an outcome. Because you could be like, I sell how to repurpose your assets. Or you're like, I sell the freedom that you want and the ability to scale and create the impact and get the audience that you want to love serving by making your content look like it's all over the place. Whereas you're probably lying naked on some beach somewhere, drinking some wine, doing this and that, which is really what you want to be doing out there. There's that, or we will take your assets and cut it up for you and post it at a schedule of 3 times a week to this and that and blah, blah, blah. And we will make sure that we shorten you and give you a sound clip and da, da, da. Or freedom, scale, impact, go. Different. That I'm like, when we talk about content, I'm like, please just choose the lane that you're going to be in so we know what you really deliver to the world. That's where I'd be starting with all content.
Yeah, for sure. And even not even like you just like hit the nail on the head, not even just choosing the lane, but the messaging that you're going to apply to that lane. Because what you were just talking about, like for us, it's like it's the same thing. The messaging is different and totally different impacts depending on how you decide to deliver it and the words that you're using whenever you're doing that.
Yep.
Love it.
I mean, because what is it? What everyone thinks their content is just the how-to stuff, deliverables, and all those things. And the market is like pulverized by that. That today I'm always just like, what do they need to hear? But what do they need to understand? Then what do they need to do? Because the market will pay more for insight and perspective in your copy and your content and all that stuff than it will for just like, hey, this is what we offer. This is what we do. That's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. You have an element of that. But I mean, take a look what's happening in the world right now. If you can't get them to listen, you ain't going to get to the rest. And then if you can't teach them the lens of how to look at those things, then it never positions if I'm assuming if your audience is following you, they're dialed into this, what you really offer out there. That like those are the key elements that I'll always go back to that are more strategic, less tactical.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about tactical then. As far as your business goes, like what are your core offerings specifically for those who don't know?
We have our vision in the vineyard. Well, no matter what, we're always teaching how to build an online brand. And all we do with it is our system is the work. That's the workhorse of it. Now it's just a matter of like, what kind of access do you want to the system? Where you're like, it's do it yourself, it's do it with coaching, and it's do it with speed or team. Because that's it. We're just like, it's the same system. So with that, we're not like, I got to make a bunch of different products and offers out there. Well, we make different offers, different products. It's just, what way do you want to access that? So like our vision in the Vineyards as an example is just where a person's just like, I want the speed of execution that in 2.5 days, I will design my signature system, know the process of it, know the offer to go sell it, and the pitch of how to sell it. We're like all done in 2.5 days so that when you go back to our system, you're moving quicker. And then all that, and you and I were chatting about this before where I'm like, we'll do all the tech, we'll do all the funnel build outs and stuff like that, because what makes a killer offer? You and I were talking about the new offer that you have coming out that I'm like, the sweetest spot of an offer is remove roadblock, implementation, and speed. If you figure out you got like the trifecta of like the Sparta offer, that thing that is so like astronomical that people be like, name the price, just name the price and I'll do it or whatnot. But then, so from all those things, we just have our group coaching program, our like do it yourself, and that's it. We're like one main system, just cut up. We kind of call it our offer multiplier and the leveraged offer suite. We're like, everyone's like Ascension Suite. I'm like, true, but leveraged offer suite where you don't have to invent a ton of different products, smart, until you're doing 7 figures. After that, by all means, start doing other shit from there, but get that sucker dialed in first. And so what we'll do with our content for that is we're like, where is each of the avatar for that? Like the do-it-yourselfer that is a newbie, we're like, I have to speak different to you than our white glove concierge clients that are like 60K plus clients that we're like, you're already doing a 7-figure business. Your problem is, I just want to bolt on another 6 and 7-figure business, and I want to do it in a year, and it can't disrupt what I'm doing in my other business or my family time. So they're like, we're like project managers, team, speed, and we're just like, we're talking to you very different than we're talking to, I'm a startup trying to decide, is my belief ready to go online? We're like, that's a completely different message than, I get it, I need to be online. How do I just do it faster?
Right. So what types of content then are you pushing out to both of those different, and I'm sure there's a middle audience too, obviously, but like to both of those edges, what type of content are you creating to talk to them consistently where they're at?
I mean, no matter what, there's always trainings that speak to those things. So we're very big on workshops, trainings, anything like that. I can't rip the teacher out of me as much as everyone's like, you don't need to teach so much. And I'm like, can't help it, need to do it. But I just love delivering that kind of value out there. It's just in my style. But we'll always do some sort of content day. I'm not an advocate of like, I got to make content every day.
Oh,
Because I'm just like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And then I feel like I'm at the beck and call of the audience. And that's not what I built my business or my life for. I'm like, I built to serve the people that I want, but not to be at their beck and call. Like, that's why I have struggled with free groups. Free groups, I'm just like, bitches. Like, either engage and take action, or like, I won't just be like, hey, because I'm not in here every day, you don't pay attention as much. Or I'm like, that could be a clue as to why you're at where you're at in your life, as compared to I'll just come in and be like, high quality content, siphon out the action takers. And if you built your business right, you're like, I don't need everybody, I just need the right people. But we'll just design out where we're like, okay, so if we're talking to that crew, what trainings, what case studies, what testimonials, what messaging, and then we'll be like, let's make everything that we need to build a funnel through that. And then we'll be like, if it's this person, same kind of thing. What trainings, what case studies, what testimonials, what messaging, objections, etc. do we need to do to be like, let's build that all out. And we just organize it that way, where twice a month we do like just 6-hour to 8-hour content days. And what we'll do is like, we'll be like, okay, I got to shoot this shit anyway for the course, paid content.
right.
We'll shoot it for top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, whatever way. And we're just like, in our free Facebook group, we're like, we're going to shoot it live. So you get access for 24 hours. So we can take the algorithm and play with that, but be like, and do the live thing that we're supposed to do for the algorithm and whatnot. But we're like, set a timeline, 24 hours, record everything, and then just be like, now it's going to top of funnel, or it's going to get gated, or it's going to get paid. But we just came up with a strategy that we'll take advantage of live, but build assets, because we're all about asset building, shit that needs to work all around the clock for you.
Yeah.
And we just kind of consistently work that twice a month. And our team then it goes over to you. It goes over to you guys. You guys start doing your stuff. It gets over to our social media girl, and she's like, I make you look like you are on social media, which is fantastic. I'm like, awesome. Love it, Jess. Thank you, because I do not like social media. And we go. And it turns into emails, turns into this, turns into that. And you rock and roll. And we're just, I think I wrote down when I listened, I'm like, our top strategy is just consistency over and over. We have a system for cutting everything up.
Yeah.
Like, and you guys just repurpose everything. They were like, sweet. But we speak to our offers, we speak to our system, we speak to the belief that we want people to have, and we just consistently keep showing up. That's it.
But that doesn't mean that you're creating content every day. You are consistent about your 2 days a month or whatever filming, and then making sure that it's scheduled properly to make it appear as if you are everywhere at all times.
That's it. That's it.
I love that you're utilizing live to then help the algorithm and all that fun stuff, but you're leveraging it with your repurposing strategy. I think a lot of people don't connect the two dots. Like, they think that one's exclusive of the other. Like, you can't repurpose live content. And you've made a really interesting case for that.
And even like paid for stuff, because here's the reality that everybody, like, you think they're sitting around just being like, this training is going to be in a paid for product he's giving away for free. Oh my God, it's diminishing everything he does. And I'm like, half the shit they ain't watching, half the shit they can't remember. They can't know. So I'm like, you know what? And for all the arguments of the people out there, you charge what you charge and this and that. And what about people that can't afford you and whatnot? I'm like, I post that shit for free for 24 hours. we got YouTube channels, we got blogs, we got a ton of shit out for free. So we serve there, we strategize about how we also leverage it, but we're also like, the market ain't paying that much attention. So it's okay. We can go put it back into where we're at. So it's just like a sprinkling of all the things that you want to do, but leveraged.
Yeah.
And that's like I kind of live by this thing that I'm like, hard work does not equate necessarily to success. My dad busted his ass from 6 a.m. until 12 p.m. every day of his life. He never learned how to make more than 75K a year. We learned leveraged smart work, which is why we do that in months versus years. The thing that more people would understand about content is leverage. How are you leveraging it amongst your platforms and into your funnels and into your back end, into the things that are more automated? Because just on social, I'm like, this shit's here and gone. That's not leverage. Yeah. That's just like, feed your ego. And you're like, I still to this day, I went to Chase like a couple years back when social was really at, and I was just like, yo, I got all these likes. Can I deposit this shit in here? I'm like, can you like ring the code? Is there like a QV scanner?
Yeah.
Scanner and whatnot? They're like, no, dollars and cents is what I was like, oh. So if I can't get Soch to get into my funnels, it ain't worth it.
Right. It's a vanity metric. Like, I think that a lot of people get caught up on how many views, how many likes, are the right people looking at the content, and those right people are going to be driven to wherever it is you're trying to direct them. And I think getting people off of social is one of the toughest things that if it's organic, if it's not paid content, getting people off of social is something that they struggle with. Do you do a lot of organic that you're getting people off of the platform with?
I mean, we do for sure. It's part of our game plan as well, but we're also way more into paid traffic.
Yeah.
Because you're like, they're telling you, I will drive you people that don't use paid traffic. I'm like, well, your business model is a little broken, or you're just starting out right now. And there is something for that. If you've been in the game for a while, your model's broken because you're just not figuring out advertising. Or you're just starting out, but you can then use low budget strategies and organic strategies to get out there. But the minute you start having that extra 500, that extra 1,000, start using paid traffic, because they will give you the eyeballs you want. Now, that speaks to the fact that, like, if you're getting paid traffic, you damn well better know what you're driving to. And you better not just be like, shit, I drove traffic. The opt-in didn't work. The offer didn't work. I'm done. Let me go make another thing. You're like, amateur doesn't mean, it just could have been you had a wrong angle, wrong hook. Who you targeted, you just didn't hit the right thing. So, I mean, you get it. It's an advocate of why we're always talking about, like, don't rely just on the tactics. Are you learning to actually be a marketer and understand that your offer could have been, your package, everything could have been the best thing. You just put it in front of the wrong eyes. You put it in front of, like, I always talk about now, this like holy trinity, where I'm like, the holy trinity, the ideal prospect. Are you getting your stuff in front of the people that want what you have? That means you better know what outcome you deliver. Are they willing? Meaning, like, I've been looking for help for this fucking thing. Like, yeah. I'm willing to pay for something that shows me you can get me the result I want. And they're capable, meaning they have money. You're not marketing to the Carl's Jr. crowd where they're just like, I'm like, find that, the want, the willing, and the capable. And all of a sudden, your content, your views, your engagement, your sales will all look different because you're putting it in front of the right people. And then your whole strategy of what you're doing is just going to, like, 10x. Different way.
Right. Absolutely. So can you give me one, because I know you talk to different audiences and each offer is unique to whoever it is that you're targeting. Like, can you give me one example of a funnel that just crushes, like from A to Z? Like, they see the initial ad. What does that content look like? Where does it take them? What's the landing page do? Like, very specific steps in the funnel?
Yeah, I mean, our webinar is always our top converter. Although right now these virtual workshops are working really freaking well. So having a Facebook group, but you utilize for free workshops, then take it all and repurpose it and whatnot. That's another strategy that we just started in when shutdown happened. And we were like, ooh, we better figure out a different offer because our retreat business dried up for like 2 months.
Right.
And we were like, oh, damn. But that's also the beauty of having a system, right? Our retreat business, which is always hands down one of our best, but not as duplicatable in the sense of funnel wise, because it's more high ticket and it's coming from referrals or I'm meeting people, masterminds, things like that and whatnot. But our top thing is always like content, and it could be like what we kind of call now our digital newsletter, where we're driving view ads first so the person can be warmed up, because we were driving to cold traffic and then to the ad, to the opt-in, which wasn't as good as it could be, because we're like, person didn't know you, belief system first. So we're like, okay, let's drive to views. Let's get them consuming X percentage of content, then drive them to more views, now to opt in, because we've positioned multiple content pieces, multiple language, multiple belief systems, etc., to then get the engagement, to get the lead, to get the transaction to happen. So that has changed the game, where we're like, first we were only driving to opt-in, which was just not optimizing, not that you're still getting, but it costs you more to get that lead. Then spend less money, get them watching content, then drive them via retargeting to opt-in. Then we go to our pillar piece, because we're like, our 5 phases of building a successful online business. We're like, it specifically positions our methodology so that when our offer is made, they're like, oh, your program like does all 5 of those things, and it gets us
Weird.
there.
What?
And you're like, yeah, intentionality with your content helps position your offers, which greases the wheels of the sales. So if for your audience, I'd be like, go all the way back then, and we have to talk about the mistakes or the blunders or the beliefs or the dreams or whatever it is. Make that kind of content, but go for views. When you start seeing that they're seeing 15%, 20%, et cetera, whatever your metrics are for that, retarget them then to the opt-in. So the longer piece of content, should position your methodology. Your offer should present the fast route to get that, and you're done. I'd be like, just high level, that's what I'd be like coaching your audience to be like, contemplate how that happens. But that means you better have like a known offer or a known signature system or something like that. Right. Otherwise, it's just feel good content out there. And that's influencers that are looking to get paid just for ads and traffic and things like that, as compared to I'm running a business. Different style.
Right. And so you just started really adjusting that, the views, the last couple of months, like when all of this went crazy. So that's a great time for you to be doing it, because traffic was cheap, or like eyeballs were cheap, because Facebook lost a ton of their advertisers. So they were giving it away. So you got it at a massive discount. Good for you.
And we were like, and I mean, it still exists, and it's going to exist for a little bit right now, because still a lot of people are in this hunkered down mindset. And I'm like, oh, you're going to get killed, because I'm like, right now is the time to ramp up, because the perfect storm of opportunity is right now, where you're like, digital and virtual, the behavior has been normalized. Like, you're like, it's just the norm, like social retailing, all that, like, it's just the norm now.
Yeah.
Then you're like, platforms, never easier. Like, if somebody's just like, I don't know the tech, I'm like, you need to grow up. You need to like do something and look at the fucking market and be like somebody's like, I don't know how to get editors and whatnot. I'm like, Repurpose House is right motherfucking there. Listen, now, I don't know how to build this. There's a fucking coaching program there. I don't know how to do that. There's a thing there. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't know how to do Kajabi. I don't know how to, there's courses and people that do that for you. Stop with the platforms are hard, the tech is hard, any of that stuff. But the audience has never been bigger. And the attention, which is really what you're fighting for.
Right.
They were there where they're like, I will digest an hour of content right now because what else am I going to do? So you had all those things aligning for you. And because the ads were cheaper and the viewership was cheaper, if you weren't like, if you played though, I don't know how to get them to buy now, you're playing a little bit the wrong game, because you're like, of course you should be driving for that. I'm not saying that you're not there, but I would like, you're building an audience that you might be selling 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now.
Right.
That's chess when you're a marketer, that you're like, I'm playing the long game here, that I'm going to acquire all these new leads. I'm going to acquire this new audience. It might take me a while to get them there, but that's how you play the long tail of your business. That we were just like, even if some things weren't like converting on opt-ins to offer stuff, we're like, we'll build the audience, we'll keep gathering them in, we'll get them on the list and nurture them on the back end. That, I mean, anyway, different game.
And then at that point, it becomes a numbers game. Like you just continue to accumulate the eyes, because you can always retarget. That list is there. They've seen it. So
and it goes back to that belief thing that you're like I might have, like, I was just working on a series of campaigns right now because I want to run this new offer called our case study like offer. And I'm like, I want to test a new offer. I want to do this thing. But I'm like, it's all going to be based purely on 5 emails of case studies. And I'm just like, I have to think about though, what's the belief of the person that will view each one? I'm like, brick and mortar owner, I have to create the belief that it's okay to not want your brick and mortar anymore. So I'm like, the case study of that, besides my own, I'm like Doc Vince, who had just sent like a postcard thanking the guy that referred him to me. He sent him the thank you card, said, dude, thank you for introducing me to Vito. I don't have bricks and mortar anymore. I live in Arizona, living the life that I want now. And he was living in Wisconsin, freezing his ass off, that he's just like, I want out. And I'm like, that's not a money transformation. That's a life transformation type thing. So I'm like, oh, that will be the belief system I have to use there. You have the guy that is like 7 figures in a coaching business, but he's just like, I am the coach all the time. So I have to be like, the belief system I have to get people to adapt is, you don't have to be the coach all the time. So you start working through that, because you're like, a person might come in and see that and be like, I'm a brick and mortar owner. I can't give up my brick and mortar right now. And it might be months where they're still like, brick and mortar not going where they want, life not where they want, and they're remembering the emails, and they're remembering that I talk about it's okay if you don't want brick and mortar anymore. You don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to hold on to it. You don't have to be nostalgic about it and whatnot. One day you can decide, I'm just done. But start replacing that vehicle. You have to think through your market in those ways to be like, the person might be like, I've had that idea, but I don't know if I accept it as a full belief yet. So you have to nurture them down the road, right? But you got to be like, how do I hook them in to start opening up that belief, and then keep targeting them that with that kind of content, so that one day they can make the buying decision.
Right. It's a process. I think many people just want content to work right now. And it's like, that's not how life works, first of all. And you have to look at it like it's a long game. And if you're going to do it well, you have to be consistent, like you were saying, and you have to be strategic about the type of content you're putting in front of people.
Yeah, and intentional. Be intentional. That's it. Strategic and intentional and purposeful is the strategy of the person that is defining and has more, what I kind of call There is no 100% control in life, but you are stacking as many things in your favor because you know how to think. And knowing how to think is utterly valuable today and forever and always has been. Because, example, like when the shit hit in March, and the retreat business went away for a little bit, we were like, okay, now is the time for us to make a subscription offer. We're going to enter the mid-ticket like subscription model because we're in a business space, so we don't got to go 97, 67 and whatnot. But we're like, okay, what do? We have to teach this, do this and that. We'll make a virtual workshop. We're going to make this up as we go along. We're going to be okay with focus group style. We're going to be all right with this and that. Now's our time to go do this and blah, blah. And we rolled that out and we made the retreat money back up with one new offer in the market at the right time because we knew how to think strategically through it and be like, now, not because I saw another person do a subscription 6 months ago and this and that. And I'm told subscription and membership is the way you have to go and whatnot. Yes. It's a fantastic part of your model, but it doesn't mean it's right for you now. If you know when the right moves at the right time is compared to the right moves at the wrong time, then you're being pro. Then you're being an actual entrepreneur, marketer and all that as compared to you're playing at it, which is fine. But like a lot of people need to be kind of like told like, you're not an entrepreneur yet. Just because I put up a course and I did this thing. No, right. You're not. Let's not toss that word around lightly. Let's not toss around I'm a marketer lightly. Being like, those are skills, capacities, and capabilities that we work at, like non-stop, in order to one day have the ability when the shit hits the fan like it just did, and you're like, I ain't gonna go into panic mode. I've prepared for this because I've done history. I understand the markets. I understand some history of what things have happened in the past. I understand that these things, I get people, human behavior and whatnot. But I'm always just like, you want to be good with your copy, your content and all this shit? Like study human behavior, study psychology, study history, study the markets to understand globally what goes on so that you can be like, I can think through this. Might not make all the best decisions, might still miss the market stuff, but you're like, example, like when you were just said, where you're like, eyeballs, cheap as all hell. Facebook lost a bunch of marketers, so they're gonna depress the price down, where like people that I saw that have been in business 20, 30 years that put themselves out as business coaches were talking in their masterminds, hunker down, stop the bleeding everywhere. Don't, and I was just like, you're a business coach? I was just like, oh damn, that's just not, I get stop the bleeding, but to be like hunker down and don't acquire a new audience right now while it's cheap, you don't know the game right now, what's going on. And that could sink a business or just let you miss opportunity. Those things make a freaking big difference in the success rate that you acquire consistently. We don't all hit the mark all the time. We all bomb on campaigns. We all bomb on offers, but you're like, batting average is still high.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just need to hit 3 out of 10. In baseball, you hit 3 out of 10, you're paid millions. I'm like, that's the batting average I'm going for. But when you're hitting 1 out of 10, or like not even that, you just won't be viable in the market today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Vito, I could chat with you about this stuff all day long. In fact, we did it for a couple of days not too long ago. So, okay. So last thing, there's so much in here. I'm so excited about all the little tiny nuggets that we're going to throw all over the place. If there's one very short piece of advice that you could give anybody listening at any stage, what would that be?
Know what you want to be known for and what the result of that is in the market, because the market pays for result, outcome, and transformation. It does not pay for service, does not pay for just know-how. It's like, what is the outcome, the result, and the trend? Get clear of that. because all of that will be your messaging, your positioning, and your methodology that you'll be gearing all this content and everything around, because you're like, I'm going to be known as the person that solves chronic fatigue. I'm going to be known as the live pain-free person. I'm going to be known as the real estate freedom formula guy. I'm going to be known as the repurpose house lady. You're going to be known for that thing. Stay that course. Get that thing built like it's a gold mine before you remotely look at anything else, because it's going to take that kind of discipline and focus to stand out in a crowded market today and to create converting offers and converting ads and converting funnels and all that, that decide what is your signature thing. Go build that.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I know that we have an amazing, the SOS crash course page that anybody is able to check out. Do you want to give them kind of a high level on what that is here?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just around there, being like, you better know your audience, your offer, and your sales strategy around that signature thing if you want to go compete in this market today. So it's just a little crash course on how to go do those 3 things out there. Know who you serve, build the offer, and have the sales strategy for it. So it's definitely a little mini freaking course that'll get them ramped up.
Awesome. And guys, we're going to have a link to that in the descriptions. Whether you're listening, it'll be in the description of the podcast episode. If you're on the website, it'll be in there. If you're on YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening, there will be a link to that, because if you got value out of what we were just, like, everything Vito's been saying, then it is absolutely worth your time to go pop in there and check out what he's offering to you for just hanging out with us. So Vito, if people want to follow you and see the content live and in action, where can they do that?
I mean, they can go to thevisionaryplanner.com, our website, and get any sorts of free trainings there. On YouTube, we have our Visionary Planner channel with the Rise of the Visionary podcast, that your episode's coming up and out.
Yeah.
Whatnot. So anyway, there you can find me on social at Vito La Fata. Super easy to find us out there today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Vito, so much for being with us, guys. Thank you so much for listening or watching, however you're consuming this content. If you found awesome value in this episode, please share it with your friends. And please go check out more episodes at contentkarate.com, where you can find where to listen and watch on all of your favorite platforms. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Ciao, guys.